But of course, they are giving you a bit of a bigger picture of the market. Nigeria's the currency is been gaining a little bit sturdily on the US dollar over the last couple of sessions. The naira at the I&E window, that's investors and exporters window, gained 0.28% yesterday on the US green on the dollar or the greenback, hitting one of the lowest levels since September 12, 2018. So the naira is making some strong comeback against the greenback at 360 to the dollar. At the street market, the naira was up by 0.28%. At the I&E window, the naira gained 0.04%. 0.04% on the dollar at the I&E window, 0.28% at the parallel market against the greenback as well. But look at the volume at the I&E window. That is moving up a bit steadily to about 268.34 million US dollars on Monday. Then, of course, the big story we'll talk about a little bit later is the treasuries and the bond market, where investors giving naira bonds a little bit of a cold shoulder. You saw that just less than 2 billion were traded at the FMDQ on Monday, but very massive movement in short-dated treasury bills. On Monday, when we start the week, the central bank is keeping its zero tolerance for liquidity overhang in the system ahead of the general elections, trying to mop up every naira on the street, as it were, technically speaking. So on Monday, provisions for the currencies market for this week, and of course, the OMO auction, the central bank drained 132.6 billion naira out of the market via the open market operations on Monday, and that's starting another week and another round of zero or intolerance, as it were, for liquidity sulfate. But again, if you get back to the stock market, we're trying to find what's the playbook for the month of February. Of course, is the month we're expecting some of the earnings numbers to coming through from some of the listed companies, but a few of them are reporting that they're not yet ready to report to the market. Grief Nigeria PLC is in the business of making steel drums and packaging, and of course yesterday notified the stock exchange and of course the investment community that its 2018 financial statements will be delayed in terms of filing because it was very tough doing the business in Nigeria last year, and says they shut down 2 of their branches within the last 12 calendar months. That's 2018, as it were. So said they could not meet the filing timeline for the audited financial statements with the Nigerian Stock Exchange, because they want the external auditors to look through all the books and be sure that everything is in order before they throw that to the numbers to the marketplace. And that's Grief Nigeria PLC says they shut down 2 of their branches last year because of a very, what they call a very tough situation for our businesses in Nigeria's packaging sector. Let's get a bit of a sense of the equities market for the new month. Of course, we're getting close to February the 16th for Nigeria's presidential elections. Let's get Adedayo Bakari of Afrinvest into this conversation. Is live from our studios at the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Adedayo, good morning. It's good to have you on the program.
Good morning, Bosin. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. This is a very noisy political season. How do I trade this political season on the equity side?
Okay, I think, ahead of the elections, caution remains the watchword. So the elections, the presidential election specifically is, 2 weeks away. And we know foreign investors, and even domestic investors are more responsive to what is going to happen by February 16th. So people are looking forward, investors are looking forward to what is going to happen at the presidential elections. And basically, caution is the watchword in the markets currently. What we've seen for the past 2 weeks, for instance, we saw a period where investors, put money into the market, and there was a rally for about 2 weeks. But last week, we saw that, investors took out the money as, stocks appreciated, they took out their profits. So you expect that this pattern of trading will continue until, the risk and uncertainty associated with the elections dissipate later on.
Okay, but earnings will soon be coming through. So how do I put this into my strategies for trading despite the political environment? Do you think earnings coming through should be in focus for me, or is it in focus for you?
Absolutely. The earnings season is here. So February, we've already seen some companies, especially those whose financial year is not between January and December and who do not have to audit their accounts. We've seen Guinness publish their result in the last week, and we expect that more companies will come into the market to, announce their earnings for the past quarter and also for the 2018 full year. So between February, towards the ending of February and even early March, you see consumer goods companies like Nestle, and banks like GT and Zenith Bank come into the market and publish their financial statements. Now, ahead of these releases, we know that investors, we want to position into some of these stocks with attractive fundamentals, because even despite, the slow pace of growth in the economy, despite all the risk and uncertainty associated with the markets currently, there are still decent options, decent companies to pick from in the market. Although we expect that the earnings releases will generally be mixed, while you see a very good performance from, say, Tier 1 banks, for instance, and you see a good outing for Nestle and the likes, we'll still see a bit of underwhelming performance in, say, the brewery segment of the market. So investors will need to be cautious. They basically need to look at stocks or companies with attractive fundamentals, those who have an history of delivering excellent earnings returns, and specifically those who pay dividends to the shareholders. So we think in this type of stocks, investors will be positioning in them just before the announcement of these earnings.
A final one for you, Adedayo. What about news? How do I trade the news? The news box, news like, well, it's now been explained, like a PZ Kuzon says that we're not leaving Nigeria, we're here to stay. We're about 120 years in Nigeria. We're not going anywhere. We've weathered the storm, we'll continue to be here. Do you think any other news will be significant moving forward? Perhaps, even though these folks are going to be quiet, Diamond Bank and Access Bank corporate wedlock?
We cannot rule that out. Unfortunately, these are publicly listed companies, and as developments happen, you expect that they are mandated to report to the market. So obviously, the news we saw about PZ was, is not obvious, not disconnected from what we've been seeing in the economy. For instance, we've seen, pressures, especially on consumer goods companies, and we believe that will continue to be the case, at least in the near term. So it didn't come to us as a shock, and we expect that more of those, announcements from companies will come. But what will really be in focus in February is really the elections and also macroeconomic data releases. So we might see capital importation data, we might see trade data, we might see inflation data, and we might also see GDP data. So all these are news flows the investors in the market will have to contend with and trade with in February.
Adedayo Bakari, thank you very much. Part of the investment research team at Afrinvest. You have a great day. We'll come back after the break. You're watching Business Morning.